Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys all good today. Now I'm delighted to be joined by Jez, and we were just saying as well that it's been a while since we've spoken about Arsenal. So yeah, it's good to have you back on, Jez. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm very well, so thanks for having me back on. I think it's been got to be about a year, I
Yeah.
believe, somewhere like that. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. And yeah, it'd be great to chat about Arsenal. Obviously, we'll be looking ahead to the game at the weekend against Leeds, but I just want to get your thoughts right now about the window. As I've said as well, the last 24 hours with the Eze situation has been pretty crazy, but what have you made of the Eze situation and the window so far?
Um, right, that's very interesting actually. The window was not exactly as I really wanted it. Madu UK, I thought was a waste of money. To be honest, I thought what we're
Mm.
doing, we could have got the Eze deal done before we done that. But hey, look, I actually called this the other night and I said, now that Havrez has gone out on injury, we'll go back in for Eze. So maybe this week I should do the lottery because I got that one right. But yeah, I mean, I wanted Eze. I wanted him coming to Arsenal. I've been saying it now for over a year. I think he's going to be a great addition for the club. He's somebody that we need in that midfield, and I'm very, very happy about it. And I think it's going to be a massive positive for the club.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm very excited about it. Probably, when we signed Groceries, I was happy, but this one I think is very, very important. And um, I think it took, sadly, for Havertz to get that knee injury again, to get this deal over the line. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a horrible thing to say, but also it upsets Tottenham, and you can't beat upsetting Tottenham. So I think, like I've seen posts today. I don't go on Twitter myself or X, whatever it's called, but I have people send me these clips, and there's one fella um, going on about when Tottenham were in the mark for signing Eze, and then yeah, it's a great addition. It's going to be brilliant. This, that, the other. Today, Arsenal can have him because he's injury prone. I mean, talk about flip flop. You know what I mean? 1 minute you're saying it's going to be great for Tottenham, and oh no, Arsenal can have him. We don't want him, but that's football, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've wanted Eze. I mean, from the start, I agree with you with Madueke. I think we should have got Eze done way before that happened. And I'm not big on Madueke. I'm not big on that signing, to be honest with you. I think Eze is that game changer that Arsenal needs. I think you look at the window as well. Without Eze, it's a not bad window, but we needed some firepower. We needed something different in the attack because we saw how we played against United. I'm happy we got the win, don't get me wrong, but our performance was very bad, and we'll only have luck for so long. And I think for me, the window, like I said, I'm happy with Eze. Obviously, Havrez I'm happy with. Do you think we'll bring anyone else in now, or do you think that'll be it?
Um, I honestly sitting here right now, I think that'll be our business done,
Mm.
and I think we've done a good deal there. What I'm glad about, Sophie, is the fact that what we did, right? We after what happened with Havertz, it was no messing about with Arsenal for once. We just said, right, we need to do something here. We're going to be short again. Um, Bert has obviously made the move quite rightly, and he's gone in and said, right, let's just get this over the line. Let's not mess about. There's the money. Yeah, that's it. There it is. Job done. We've already had agreed personal terms with the man. It was quite obvious he wanted to come to Arsenal. He was an ex-Arsenal academy player, right? And I'm sure out of the two, Spurs, Arsenal, he'd rather go to Arsenal, right? Because it's like him going back home as a kid. So that's put that one on the table. But great addition. Very, very, very confident about this. And it at the end of the day, I think that's probably going to be us done now. I don't
Yeah.
think we're going to do anything more. We've spent an awful lot of money, for good or bad. I'm yeah. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, Matty UK, what I've seen of that guy
Mm.
at Chelsea, not impressed at all. What I've seen in the game the other day at Man United, wasn't impressed at all. But it's early days. I could be wrong. You know, I was the idiot that said there's a player in Havrez. You know, so and there was for a little bit,
Yeah.
about 8 games, and that didn't last long. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think you kind of know sort of straight away when you get a player how they're going to be. I mean, with Havertz, I wasn't big on that either. I think Havertz, I look at him now, I think he's been a decent sort of player in the team, but I think he would never really be a starter. You look at our team now, and I think obviously it's a shame he's injured, but I don't think we'd have gone Eze if he wasn't injured. So I kind of think he's helped us a bit there, but we should have gone Eze done earlier. But I think for me, I can't complain. I am happy. What would you rate the window? Because I think the fan base is so sort of different with this because I've seen people give it a 10, I've seen people give it like a 7. What would you rate the window at the moment?
Well, now we've done that deal. If you'd asked me this question on Monday, I would have given you a 6.
Yeah, me too.
I would have given you that. Now, getting Eze in the door, I will give you an 8.5. I still
Yeah.
think we could have got another player in. Um, but yeah, look, I'm sitting here, I'm happy, I'm confident now. I think we've done the business we should have done. And in fairness, there's not a lot more we could have done. You know, if we'd got Groceres and Sesko, then okay, fair play. But that's never going to happen. We knew that. But at the end of the day, I'll give you an 8.5 now.
Yeah, I'm with you similar because I think now we before Eze, I mean I was giving it about a 6 because I think you can see we didn't see much improved in the attack. I mean, the creativity side of it as well was another thing, but I think now you look at it with Eze, he is a game changer and he definitely has lifted up our spirits going into the season now. I'd give the window, like you said, I'd probably give it 8 to an 9. I think we've done a lot better now. I think we need to get rid of players though. I think that's the only bit of criticism I'd say is that we've not really sold many players, and I think we could shift some players out the door. Do you think we're going to make any sort of outgoings? Because it was a bit interesting that we got Eze done so quick because it seemed as though for us to get Eze we had to move on players, but we've just got Eze, and I just think we've not really made any outgoings at all.
Mm, yeah, good point. Now, I before this was announced last night, I was doing a show with Kenny Ken and that, and I came up with a conspiracy theory. I said to Kenny and Shane, I said, right, look, do you think they've extended Trossard's contract and given him a pay rise since the announcement that Hazard's been injured? And we all sort of agreed. A lot of people in the chat were agreeing with it, but then all of a sudden, I was on another show after that when it was announced live whilst I was on this as a guest on Rashid's show that this Eze deal had been done. Fabrizio had said, "Oh yeah, we're signing Eze," and I thought, "Wow, well, that shuts me up then," because at the end of the day, I like Trossard. He is a good impact player off the bench, in my opinion. But I also think getting this deal done will kick us on. I hope. Now, there's a lot of depending on that, Soph, right? Because it's all down to the manager now.
Yeah.
It's all down to him. Because at the end of the day, he's got some great players coming this summer window. And if he cocks it all up, then there's only one answer. You have to go, my friend. Because you can't argue. right? With Grockrez, Eze coming in. But yes, there's players that we should lose, right? There's players here that really aren't good enough to be at the club. I think what have we done? Sold, I think our sales gone out the door 6.7 million so far. Now, are we going to sell any more? That's an interesting point you've asked, because I'll tell you, this is the point. All right. Last season, Arteta made the statement he didn't want a big squad.
Yeah.
Since that, he said he wants a bigger squad. So is he going to hang on to all these players? But we also have to look at the points. It's difficult for us to sell because we put players on silly high wages. Now, yesterday, when we or Tuesday, wasn't it? We saw Trossard get an extension, contract extension, and a pay rise. So that means if we want to sell him next summer, it's going to be difficult to get him out the door again because of his wages. This is the Arsenal way, and I find that rather annoying. But yeah, there are players that should go. Will they go? I'll be interested to see. I mean, we've got what, 2 weeks left of the window, 10 days
Yeah.
left of the window. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually surprised about the Trossard thing because it did seem if we were going to sell him or Martinelli, it would be him. And I'm the other way around. I'd rather sell Martinelli and keep Trossard for now. I was surprised about that because, as you've mentioned with the wages, it is a bit of a problem to sell some of these players because a lot of them have injuries. I mean, Zinchenko is a good example because he's on quite high wages, and I think his contract has only got a year left. And I think if you want to get money for him, I think we need to do that now. But yeah, I think we've obviously got players as well. You know, you've got Jesus as well, who I have no idea when he's back, but he's still here. And then we obviously terminated Tomiyasu's deal as well, which was the right thing, I think. But yeah, I do think it's going to be hard to sell some of these players because of the wages as well. I think it's really tough. But I think so far, I think we've had a good window. I just want to read out some of these comments. Obviously, big up to the chat. 6 out of 10 could change by the 1st September. Outgoing to being poor, still no proper left winger or backup striker, 6 out of 10. And that's a good point as well about the left wing because with Eze, I was having this conversation on my channel and it's like, where do you think he would start? Because Odegaard's obviously our captain, whether you or I, whoever was watching agrees with it or not, he is our captain, and he will be starting. But I think Eze will be better in that position rather than the left. But where do you think Arteta's going to start Eze? Do you think Eze will be a starter in this team when he comes to Arsenal?
I wouldn't be at all. Well, now that's a good point here. I think he will start him over Martinelli, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what we got here now, Soph, is we've got options here now, right? I've been saying for quite a while that after watching last season, maybe it's time we went to a 4-4-2 because last season our midfield got overrun down that, especially down the left, ironically. And if we went to a 4-4-2, strengthen that midfield, Eze can play in there, right? That will give us extra strength there. He's quick, he can get forward. But my issue is with Arteta. He's way too arrogant.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like mixing it up. But the thing there is, we know he's going to play Odegaard. We know that. So that you forget that one. He's always going to be there. He's made out after what Tony Adams said. You know that statement.
Yeah.
He's gone petulant and said no. He's the captain. He's the captain. I don't think he's a good captain. I don't think he's good enough. I think personally, I said this last year.
Mm-hmm.
If you took the captaincy off Odegaard and gave it to, let's say, Declan Rice, just for now, I think the pressure's too much for Odegaard. I don't think he's captain material. He doesn't seem to have that sort of personality to be the man that's going to bully players. Now, being a captain, you have to bully people. I don't mean, you have to be. I think masterful is a better term, right? We've had some great captains in our period of football, and Odegaard's not it, man. He's not it. He's not the man. Take it off him, give it to somebody else. I think it's a different player, personally.
And that's a good point as well, because I did a video about this and I was very in the middle about this, because I think last season, we can all agree Odegaard was really poor. He had injuries, he just wasn't great. I would say the 2 seasons before that, he was really good, and I felt like he was doing his talking on the pitch. He was quite good. I think for me, obviously, I've not been an Arsenal fan as long as you guys, but I don't think I've seen many great captains at Arsenal. I mean, I've seen Aubameyang, Koscielny, I've seen a few players. Odegaard as a captain, like, I don't mind it. I think there's better captains in the team, a Declan Rice, Gabriel Magalhaes, the list goes on. But I do think it's a big point to make about the captaincy, because if Odegaard is struggling in form and Eze takes his place, I feel the captain needs to be on the pitch and we need a leader on the pitch as a captain. And I think if Odegaard's not playing, then that's a big problem, because he could easily get dropped out of the team. It does depend on where Eze is going to play. I think Eze will be on the left. I think Eze should be in the Odegaard position, but I think Odegaard's got a really big season ahead, because, as you mentioned, he's been questioned now as captain on his captaincy, and I think as a player as well, he needs to step up massively. And I think, for me, I'm going to see how he gets on the season as a player. I mean, as a captain, it's kind of a different conversation, really, because I think Declan Rice is a great example. I think he just steps up in those big moments, and I think Odegaard's definitely got to have a big season. But I did wonder. You make a good point as well. If the captaincy was taken off Odegaard, would that let him play with more freedom? Would he be maybe enjoying football a bit more? Because when you're Arsenal and you're captain, it's a big responsibility. And we've seen with players like Xhaka, it was too much for those sort of players. So, I think the captaincy, Odegaard was never my first choice. I don't think he was anyone's first choice, really, when Aubameyang was here. But yeah, I do hope Odegaard does have a good season. I think he has to have a good season, but with Eze here, it might give him more competition depending on where Eze is going to play. So yeah, I do agree. Rice, I think Gabriel and Rice are the only sort of options I think in this team as a captain. To be honest with you, I don't think of any other players really. I mean, Ryan's great, but I couldn't ever see us giving it to a goalkeeper. But what do you make of Arteta's response? Because I knew Arteta would say something about it, really. What did you make of what you had to say about what Tony Adams said about Odegaard?
Well, let's be honest. Arteta, being the type of man he is, he's always going to diss that comment, because look, Arteta doesn't. He's a sort of bloke. He don't like being questioned, right? It's his decision, and that's it. Nothing else comes into the equation. Anybody that questions him falls by the wayside. Now, obviously, he can't do anything about Tony Adams, because Tony Adams is not a current player.
Yeah.
But we've seen it in the past with players that question Arteta, out the door they go. Did it with Aubameyang. That fell out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Havrez. Because Havrez has got an attitude, which I like. I like players that are not yes men. Players should never be a yes men. They should question the manager. If it's not going down as it should be, that he says, "Well, what are we doing here? What's going on?" Happens in business. People will question the boss and say, "This ain't working, is it? Your business plan's not going down as it should be." But I thought it was a bit petulant, to be honest. I thought the fact he said, "Well, the players have voted for Odegaard to be captain." Do I believe that? I'm not convinced. I think it's more like he's turned around and said, "This is the captain. This is how it should be." Now, I've actually always loved the fact in the past we've had defenders as captains. And the reason I state that, some of the greatest teams we've ever had in modern history we've had defenders as captains, because they're looking up the field all the time. They're looking up. They can see the state of play. They can see what's happening. They can see where it's going wrong, and they can get in there and say, "Oi, you do your bloody job, right? You're not doing your job. Get in there." Now, Tony Adams was probably one of the greatest for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, he'd literally get in somebody's face in a game and tell them, straight facts. Seaman was a decent captain at times, right? Jens Lehmann, good captain. Kevin Sampson, great player for Arsenal, good captain. Now, I know the game's moved on and it's changed, but at the end of the day, people say to me, the captain's role's not as it was years ago. Well, I don't agree with that at all.
Mm.
A captain is a leader, and a leader should be the leader. And Odegaard, much as he's all right as a player, he's not great. He does have his moments, but for me, he disappears too many times in games. And being a captain, you can't do that. We saw last season and the season before, he tends to go a little bit quiet in the big games and he doesn't stand up to it. But unfortunately for me, Odegaard is Arteta's man because he's a yes man. He ain't going to question Arteta. That's the fact. And all the time that happens with Arteta, mate, that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I do. I think with Arteta, like where I stand with it is like, especially as you mentioned with Odegaard, I think if he had a different sort of captain, I mean, I don't think a Gabriel or Declan Rice would sort of they might challenge Arteta or they might disagree on him with certain things, but I think for me with Arteta, and I'll obviously ask you about this in a minute, but I think last season, I think the summer we had, I think we just had to win something last season, and I think as well going into the season, I would find it crazy if we didn't win anything. Obviously, as we're speaking about the window as well with Eze and Havrez, I mean, do you expect to win anything this season? Because I have my questions about Arteta because I think with Havrez, I think he really should be having a good season. I hope Arteta can get more out of him. Obviously, it's only been a game. We have to see how it goes, but I do. With the league, it's hard to know if we can do it because we've never done it with Arteta. We've never gotten over the line. We have gotten very close. But for me, I just think Arteta has to win something this season. Arteta had to win something last season as well, but we didn't. I just don't think we had the best summer last season, to be honest with you. So, yeah, what are your sort of thoughts on Arteta, the season coming up? Well, the season now, really.
Right. Well, for me, right, the amount of nearly $1 billion spent, 1-0, apart from the opening season, COVID year, FA Cup. He's done nothing since. And don't even come to me, people, about he comes second. Second is first loser, right? Nobody's going to remember that in 15 years' time. Pub quiz, 15 years down the road. Who was the team that came second in those seasons? Nobody's going to remember that. But you ask the pub question, say, who won the league, 23, 24, previous to that? Like, people go, oh, yeah, Man City. Or, oh, that was Liverpool. Man City before that, Man City. People remember that. They don't remember second loser in any sport. So if he doesn't achieve this season a major, I'm talking a major trophy here, right? Now, I love the FA Cup. It's my favourite cup. I grew up with it, right? If he doesn't win a major, i.e. Champions League, Premier League, he has to go. And I'll make you this statement as well. If come by Christmas, right, we're sitting here in, let's say, 6th spot at Christmas, then he has to go. Get him out so we can at least try and rescue something. But will Arsenal do that? I'll probably not. Probably not. But can you imagine the meltdown, all the Arteta sexuals, if he does get out the door? Oh my days! I hope they just leave with him. I mean, these people, that tell me,
Yeah.
oh, somebody the other night in my chat, he's the best young manager in the world. He's better than Conte. He's better than Mourinho. Get out of here. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? You know, people make these rash predictions and then make themselves look complete idiots. And you just sit there and smile at them and go, righto, we told you, but you don't listen. And it's the
Yeah.
same old, rinse and repeat. And at the end of the day, Soph, be honest, if he don't do it, he's got to go. He's got to go. You cannot keep supporting failure. You're in it to win it. You know, fact. We are an elite club. So we're here to win. And if
Yeah.
you don't win, get rid of him.
Yeah. Someone said in the chat he was better than Mourinho right now. This account. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think this season, like, don't get me wrong, like, I think if we had won maybe a few FA Cups, a few League Cups in his time at Arsenal, I think we would have been okay with that because it's trophies, it's silverware. I think for me as a younger fan, I've never seen us win the league. That is what I'd love to win, but even if we won a Champions League, I would be happy with either of them. They're the ones we need to be winning. Listen, an FA Cup, if we won an FA Cup, if we won a League Cup, I'd be happy. But the question is that enough for us to be happy with Arteta? Like, you know, in the season, I think as well, as you've mentioned, the amount of money we've spent is ridiculous. Like, we've spent so much. We haven't actually spent as much on the attack. We spend a lot of money on the defence. Our defence don't have much worries, but I think we're quite good defensively. The attack now, we've built that attack as they coming in. You know, I do feel more optimistic about the season, but with the midfield, do you ever worry about the creativity? I mean, Eze coming in is going to definitely help that, but when we were watching the game the other day, I was thinking to myself, you know, Havrez was struggling out there. You can't do much on his own. You need someone to be creative, and obviously we have a completely different midfield now. So, do you worry about our midfield at all in the season?
Of course, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head there, because when you've got an out and out striker, you have to feed them, right? I don't want to see players that we have had in sometimes years ago have to track back to find the ball, because that completely deflates what they're all about. They're impact players. They work off the shoulder defenders. They'll do the runs. Now, there was a case in point, right, at the weekend here, right, and this will land my argument about Odegaard. Havrez was clear between two central defenders. He had space. He had time. Yeah. Odegaard had the ball. All he had to do was slot it 20 yards to him. He could have run onto it, and we'll see what happens after that. What did he do? He passed it sideways. Now, that is not feeding your striker. And this is what worries me about the midfield. I think it's different with Rice, because he will make that forward run and slot the ball through. My worry is with Odegaard, he doesn't do it enough. He can do it. He can do it. He can put some lovely, lovely little passes in when he wants to do it. But he doesn't do it enough. And that, as a captain, is where I question, because your captain should be able to make those decisions. You know, you've seen all the past films in the day when, you know,
Yeah.
when we had the likes of Patrick Vieira, who put those beautiful through balls, defence splitting passes that our players would run onto and most times score a goal. Not always, of course, it's never going to happen. But at the end of the day, that's my concerns. And that is what I'm saying, Soph. If I was right now, right, going into, especially when we go away to Liverpool, that's a big, 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 massive game.
Yeah.
Right. I would go 4-4-2, because we know what their midfield can do. Last year, they did it to us again. They split us open down that left flank, our left flank, their right flank, and it causes drama. But I think with if we had Eze playing in that hole, it'll make a big difference. I think
Yeah.
he's got the difference to turn that around, and he's got the ability. He's quick, he's physical, and he can thrust forward. I think him and Grocres, if they get that, what's the word I'm looking? Get that sort of not trust. Trust isn't right, but they get that sort of sync between them. They could be quite devastating.
Yeah, I think that's why I think Eze would be great to play in that position, because I think with Odegaard, it's hard because I saw a tweet the other day and someone said when Odegaard's good, he's good. When he's bad, he's bad, and it's so true because when he's good, he's definitely an important player for the team. But I do worry about his decision making. There was quite a few times in the game the other day where he could have passed his shot and those sort of things you think of. So I think with Odegaard, I don't know if we'll see better of him. Is this going to be with Odegaard? I think with Odegaard, the question I have with him is his goals. I think he doesn't score enough goals for me. I think he can do it. I don't know if he doesn't believe in himself or he doesn't know in that moment when he should pass or shoot. But I think, as you said before, Odegaard's got a big season ahead of him. Obviously, big up to chat as well. If you guys have any questions for me and Jez or for Jez, feel free to send them in. I'm more than happy to bring them up. Obviously, we had the game against Leeds coming up, and we mentioned before we didn't have the best performance against United. How do you feel going to this game? Because I think for me, I'm nervous. I mean, I don't expect Eze to be playing in this game. I think there's a chance he could do if his medical is all good, but I don't know how. I'm a bit nervous, especially after our performance. It wasn't the most convincing win. Do you think we'll get the job done? Do you think we'll put in a much better performance for the game, or do you think it'll be the same sort of performance we've seen?
Oh, that's a question and a half, isn't it? Now let's look at the Man United game first, right? Going to Man United, I see these people telling me, "Oh, we're going to win 3-4, 5-0." Yeah, okay, right, yeah. The last time we won 3-0 at Old Trafford was December 1970. Now, going to Old Trafford is never ever. I've been to Old Trafford probably in my lifetime 40 odd times, and I can tell you, I can't remember that many games where it's been easy. In fact, I struggle. I struggle. I've seen us get done 6-0, 8-2. Not a nice day out. But we got in there. What I call a dirty win. Right? They had 20 odd shots on target. We had 3, I think. Okay. So that's a dirty win. We walk out of there 3 points. I'll take it. So I'll take them 3 points all day long. Say thank you very much. Because how often do we actually win at Old Trafford?
Yeah.
Not often, right? I think the last time we won at Old Trafford was when Podolski scored, and that was a while back. Now, I might be wrong in that. Somebody will tell me in the chat. But it was a terrible performance. It was pretty poor, awful. And I wasn't happy about it. But they weren't great either. It's just the fact they're at home and they've got the crowd behind them, and it happens. But I don't think we'll see the same game on the weekend against Leeds. I think it'll be a different game. Now, obviously, Leeds United are going to be up for it.
Yeah.
No question. And I think I've got a bit of a thing about Leeds United. I remember long before you were even born, the great Leeds United early 70s, late 60s, early 70s team. Great team, fantastic football team. Proper rock hard team. But I fancy it. I think, I'm going to put it on the table here. I reckon we'll win that 2-0, maybe 3. I think it'll just a little bit over the line for them, because even though they're newly promoted, they're going to come 100 mile an hour. The only thing is with Leeds United, if they play a low block, we know how crap Arsenal are against a low block.
Yeah, we're so bad at that.
Terrible. Now, if they do that little one, then Arteta's got to really step up on that game. We need that another 3 points, yeah, because I mean, for the weekend game, Man United, I predicted a 2-2 for that, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. That shows what I know. But at the end of the day, we've got a big game the following week away at Anfield. And when I looked at them playing last Friday night, I thought, hello, yeah, 2-0 up, 2-2, win 4-2. That's how a big team wins a game. So we're going to have to step up our game there. I think you're right. I don't think we're not going to see Eze this weekend. He'll be there.
Mm.
He'll be there. He ain't going to be in the squad because at the end of the day, he's got to get used to the team. You know, I think his medical's tomorrow. I think something like that. Then the paperwork's got to be done and all that drama.
Yeah.
It'd be too early to push him into the team. But I feel confident, Soph, about Leeds United. I feel confident. I think we'll just have a little bit too much for them. So, yeah, I'm happy about it. I think we'll walk out of there with the 3 points. But if we get a draw out of that, then I'll be very disappointed. Very disappointed.
Yeah, I think especially when it's so early on, you want to have a good start as well in the league. I think of the prediction the other day. I said like 3-1, 3-0. I think we'll win it. I don't think it'll be like a thrash one, but I watch Leeds against Everton, and I do worry about them playing a bit, low block. They did have a lot of the ball against Everton, and they got a penalty, but I think for us, we really struggle, as you mentioned, those low block teams. They're definitely our weakness. We just really struggle in those moments. But I think we should be able to get a win, whether it's 1-0, 2-0. Like I don't particularly mind if we don't play great. I think these are the points that might matter at the end of the season, because I look at games that we struggle in, whether that's a Newcastle away, Fulham. We've got certain teams in which we just really drop points on. So I think I wouldn't mind if we won the league and we didn't play the best football. I think for us, we just need to get over the line. But yeah, I'm interested to see as well if Arteta's going to make any changes. We did see Calafiori come in. We saw Ben White come in. Do you think we'll see that same sort of team, or do you think Arteta might make some changes?
I think it all depends on fitness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We are carrying it. It looks to me like a few players are carrying knocks. Saka don't look fit to me. On the weekend, he will play, of course, but it looked to me at the weekend in that game at Man United, he was jumping out of tackles at times. And
Yeah.
I don't think he's 100%. Obviously, well, we know what's happened with Havrez. He's broken down again. I haven't heard how long he's going to be out. I hope it's nothing serious. But thank you, Havrez, for getting injured in a nice way.
Yeah.
That meant we forced the hand of Arsenal to get Eze in. But yeah, I don't want to have. Look, I don't wish any player injury. It's not good, and I hope it's not more surgery. If it's surgery again, then he's out. He's out for a long while, and we don't need that. But at the end of the day, I still think I don't think Rice is fully fit. Soph, I don't think he's fully fit, and we have. I don't think Timber's fully fit. Right, Ben White, I don't think is fully fit. So it's going to be an interesting pick, isn't it? I don't know really how he's going to set the team up. Do you now? Yeah, he can't set up defensive play at home. He can't do that. That's an absolute bloody disgrace. But we'll see what happens with his pick for the game. But the thing is, I'm really looking forward to this game. We're at home.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's Leeds United, and we've had over the years some major battles with Leeds United. And I've got a bit of a thing for Leeds United, actually. I do admire them a little bit. They've got fantastic fan base. Not a nice place to go, Ellen Road. I'll say that to you. But it's going to be an interesting game. But I just want to say something here. Vincenzo, you misquoted me, man. Arsenal scored 3 goals at Old Trafford in May 77, a 3-2 win. Yeah, I know that. But what I said was the last time people were quoting me winning 3-4, 5-0 at the weekend. What I said, Vincenzo, fair play to you, buddy, was Arsenal won. The last time they won 3-0 at Old Trafford, 3-0, was December 70, right? A bit of a difference there, winning 3-2, or 3-0. That's a big thing, big difference there.
Yeah, I think I do agree with the Leeds game. I mean, it's hard to know with fitness as well because I was actually surprised Ben White played, to be honest with you, because I think I really like Timber. I think he's sort of, I'd rather him play than Ben White at the moment. I think Timber's really earned his right to get in this team, but Ben White, of course, wants to try and get back into the team. Calafiori as well. Calafiori, I've always had a few questions about his defensive work, but I think he had a fairly decent game in moments against United. I think what the only thing that I think we might change, I do wonder what we're going to do on the left wing because I'll be honest with you, I do feel a bit tired of how Martinelli is. I just think it's predictable, and I just think that we need a change there. But at the moment, you've got Madueke. I mean, Madueke, I never know if he's going to play on the left or the right at the moment. Trossard, for me, I think, as you've mentioned, Trossard is a great player. I do think Trossard is definitely better as well when he comes off the bench. I think he's someone that could really improve the game. Do you think we'll see Martinelli on the left? Because I think on the right, I expect to see Saka and obviously Havrez, but on the left, I always wonder, who's going to be that starting position? Like, because we've last season we saw a bit of a rotation there with Martinelli and Trossard. So, who do you think will play on the left in the game at the weekend?
I think personally Martinelli will start. I like Martinelli. I'll be honest. I don't know why he gets. I mean, yeah, he has dropped off a cliff a bit. But there is a decent player in there. I think sometimes with him he overruns the ball, which I find very frustrating.
Yeah.
He needs that should be coached out of him. He needs to improve on that one. But I think Trossard will have an impact this weekend. I think he'll start off the bench. I reckon he'll come on for the last half hour to replace Martinelli. That I think is a good decision. We've seen in the past how that can work the game, how that changes. We've won games by doing that. And if we are let's say we're in trouble, let's say it's 0-0 or it's a 1-0 at the moment to Arsenal, then I think dropping off Martinelli, bringing on Trossard makes a big impact. And I think he's a good impact sub. He's proven it in the past. He's no idiot. And I know a lot of people abuse Trossard. I like him. I'm glad we've kept him, actually.
Yeah.
Although a lot of people said, "Oh, he's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go." I said, "Well, okay. Who are you going to replace him with then? We can't keep throwing players out and not replace players because that leaves us in the same situation that we've been in for the last 2 seasons." So I'm glad he's staying, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
I've had this debate the other night with Lee, and I said to him, "I don't agree with you. I think we should keep him." And Martinelli, I like him. There is a very, very good player in that Martinelli. The thing is, what Arteta hasn't done, he just hasn't unlocked him.
Yeah.
I think he plays him at times in the wrong spot. And I think if he was to give him a little bit more freedom, play him a little bit, allow him to play a little bit more central, I think it'd be a big difference.
Yeah, I've been having these debates as well because when Martinelli was sort of getting into the team years back, I think. I mean, even when Emma was here, a bit after that, when Arteta came in, I think Martinelli did seem a lot better back then. As you mentioned, I think he seemed like he was enjoying his football more. And the debate people always ask is that to do with Arteta, with maybe Arteta's telling him to play a certain way? Do you think Arteta sort of it has a part to play? Maybe Martinelli. I do think Martinelli is a decent player. I think his end product could be a bit better, but I think there's a good player in him, but I just don't think we're seeing the best of him right now.
No, I don't think we have. To be honest, I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think he's got a lot given for him. I'm glad he hasn't gone. I am. I think he could kick on. We just need to get that. I don't know. What's the word? What he just needs to kick it on a bit. I mean, he just needs to improve his gameplay in certain areas, and I think he'd be a great player for that. I
Yeah.
really, I don't want to see a player like him drop off because we know we know in the past he can do it.
Yeah.
So players just don't disappear. I think it's pure frustration. He's not getting the right service, which frustrates me because I think the link-up play when we had a proper left back was excellent, but unfortunately he's gone back to Celtic.
I'm sad about that. I liked him.
Yeah, I mean for nothing. I don't know what happened there. It's a great shame, really, because I personally thought that Tierney did great service for the club. And at the moment, who would you class as the best left back? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the problem we've got.
It isn't Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly's been undone for way too many times for my liking. But we're going to see, aren't we? We're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult because Calafiori, I mean, his fitness is another problem. He could be great for 10 games and then be out for the season. So I think the left back's potentially a problem. I mean, I like Lewis Skelly, but maybe in a different position. Midfield possibly, I don't know, but I think Lewis Skelly, I see it as that he's young, he's developing, he's going to make mistakes, but I think like there was a game, I think it was against PSG, and I think you could see he was getting caught out a lot. And I think when you're in those games, you need someone that is gonna step up. And that's not a go at Lewis Skelly because he's young, he's learning. Arteta's the one that's playing him in those big games. But I think, I think the left back. I don't know who is going to be the starter. I think it seems as though at the moment Calafiori is going to be guy. I do want to see more of Lewis Skelly though, but I think, left hand side potentially could be a bit of a problem. I think the right hand side, I think we're okay on the right hand side, and I wanted to obviously ask you a bit about Max Down and Maneri as well because, I mean Maneri as well. I found it really odd last season the way he was playing, and then Arteta just stopped playing him. I just thought it was a bit bizarre, and I think as well with Ranieri, he deserves to come on for a bit longer than like 5 minutes. He deserves to have a good run out. Do you think he's going to get a lot of game time this season because he's just signed a new deal? And I assume in this new deal he would have said he wanted to play a certain amount of time. Do you think he'll potentially get any starts at all?
I seriously hope so.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think he's got one hell of a future if he's coached right and we look after him. I find it questionable. This is a problem I find with Arteta. Arteta is a very arrogant man. And if you don't, the rumour is that he dropped Enweri because he turned up late for a training session. If that's true, then I think that's pathetic to do that. Because that can knock a young man's confidence badly. That guy's got a great future. I'd like him to get more game time. And I was actually going to ask you this, and you just mentioned it actually. On the weekend, I'd start him.
Yeah.
I would start him, right? And I'd also have Max Dowman ready to come on because these are young players. They want to prove themselves. And when we had, when you look at when in the pre-season Max Dowman came on, he was levels.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to prove what he's worth, and he is one young. I mean, I know he's only 15. He's going to be 16 soon, and then he can sign a professional contract. But you've got to hang on to these players and nurture them. And under the guidance of other senior players, we've got 2 players there that could be fantastic.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd give Max a run out on Saturday against Leeds. If we're doing the damage, yeah. Yes, he can doubt. He can play. He can play. He can play at the age of 15, because then where he did, mate, he just can't sign a professional contract till he's 16. But at the end of the day, give these boys a chance. Throw them out there. Show them what it's really all about in the Premier League. Maybe Dowman, 10 minutes at the end of the game, if we're all going according to plan.
Yeah.
Hey, go on, son, get out there now. See what the Premier League's about, right? And as I say with Nweri, that's another great one for the future. So
Yeah.
give him time. I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you, right? I'd have Saka on the bench and start him, but we know that won't happen. We know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think Arteta doesn't like change too much. I think he sticks with a lot of things. I do think Arteta likes probably favourites in the team, but yeah, I think with Max Stalin, I think in pre-season, I think our pre-season wasn't particularly amazing. I know we got a few good results, but I think performances-wise, it wasn't great. And Max Stalin comes on, and he makes some of these players just look a bit average at times. I just can't believe he's 15. It blows my mind sometimes. I'm just like, how can he be that good at 15? I think he's ready to be in this team. I wasn't actually sure because of his age if he was able to get minutes, but now that I know he's able to, I'd give him a good run out. I think a lot of the time, sometimes the youth players can be a lot better than the experienced players. I remember a few years back we were struggling, the experienced players were just not doing what they should be. And Smith Rowe came in and I think he actually saved Arteta's job a bit at the time, but he did a really good job there. I think you got to give the youth players a chance. With Ranieri, I do worry about his minutes a little bit because I know, as you mentioned as well, last season towards the end he didn't get many minutes. He was on the bench really, and I felt like it was a bit crazy because he was getting minutes and he stopped getting minutes. And I know he's young, but I think if you're good enough, you're old enough really, I think Ranieri is another good option. I don't think Eze coming in will change that. I think Ranieri can definitely get minutes, but I honestly don't know if we're going to see that happen. I think, as you mentioned, Saka, I'm a big fan of Saka. I think Saka's amazing, but I think if he's not doing good, you have to be ruthless. Like, if Odegaard's not performing, you have to drop these players. And now we have the players now like Eze to come on if Odegaard's not doing the job. I just wanted to read out this one as well, which is a good point. Zinchenko's on 150 a week, could be joining Mourinho for the back chase. Fabio Vieira, Stuttgart still advanced talks. Would you sell Martinelli linked to Saudi Arabia terms, preparing 80 million bid 8 to 10 window?
Oh, Zinchenko, yeah, goodbye. See you later. Fabio Vieira, yeah, goodbye. Not good enough. Doesn't, for my liking, Vieira, he's a bang average player, and he doesn't have the physicality for my liking for the Premier League. We all know it's a physical league. He ain't got it. The Martinelli one, if we could get £80 million for him, then I'd have to say, sadly, okay. But realistically, I wouldn't want him to go. And I'll tell you for why. Because I don't want us to be weak up front, to be honest. That guy's got potential. There's no question about that. But in the last 2 seasons, be fair, he hasn't really done the business. I'd agree with anybody in your chat saying that. So if we could get the 80 mil, then I'd say yes. But the question is this, right? He's a young man. Why the hell does he want to go to Saudi Arabia? Why? Why would you go to Saudi Arabia? because to me, that's where players go to end their careers. They go there for the big money, right? And say, thanks very much. Give me God knows how many millions a year they get, and I'll see you later. He's
Yeah.
only mid-20s. That to me is writing. I mean, him. If he made that decision, that to me is him writing himself off. No, he's got a career somewhere, but I don't know how these things work and what these people are looking for. Are they just in it now just for the money? I think that's part of it, but there's also ambition in there, isn't there? Come on. These players became professionals because they wanted to win the big trophies. No disrespect to the Saudi leagues, they're not big trophies. You know, do you, Sophie, sit up and watch the Arabian leagues?
No.
I don't. And I
Yeah.
like to know anybody that does, because I think if you're telling me you do, unless you are from Saudi Arabia, you're
Yeah.
lying, because it's not great football.
Yeah. I mean, with the Saudi league, I mean, there's certain players I was surprised they went there, but I think with Martinelli, I think, I mean, I don't know how old he is, but I know he's still young. He wants, I'm sure Martinelli would want to be winning Champions Leagues. He wants to be in these big competitions. I don't think we'll get that amount of money for him, to be honest with you. I don't know how much we would get for him. I mean, for all we know, you might want to stay here. There'll always be offers. Now Trossard is staying here till 2027. I think there's going to be offers about Martinelli now, but I think we'll keep Martinelli, to be honest with you. But I'm with you. I don't know where he would go if he did leave, but I just couldn't imagine him going to Saudi. I think for him, it'd be a bit of a waste for his career, to be honest with you. But yeah, I would be surprised if we actually got that amount of money for him, because I think he's a decent player, as you said. Martinelli is decent. And yeah, it depends as well. If Martinelli is he happy, maybe not always starting, being maybe a player that comes on off the bench. It depends how he sees it. But I think they're both going to stay. With Madueke, I know we've briefly spoken about him, but do you think he'll be on the left or the right? And do you think he'll be a starter? Because I was actually surprised how much money we paid for him. And I think for that amount of money, I think he's going to be starting. I don't think he'll be a bench player for me at all.
Who? Sorry, say again.
Madueke.
I think he'll be left hand side.
Yeah.
I think he'll be left hand side. I mean, look, I hope he does well. What I've seen of him at Chelsea, I'm not impressed, to be honest. I wasn't impressed for the time I saw him against Man United either. But it's early days. It is early days. It does sometimes take certain players time to settle down. We know that. We've seen it in the past. But I think he'll play left. That seems to be where he normally plays. Whether he'll be any good, so time will tell. Will it be a bit like, dare I say it, Sterling?
Oh yeah, I do worry about that.
How much? How many? I mean, how many minutes did? I'd love to know. Somebody in the chat might know actually. How many minutes Sterling actually played in total? It can't have been that many. It can't have been that much. Madueke, will he be the same way? I personally, I think he's probably got more potential than Sterling did. Is he better than Martinelli? I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
But Harvey, I'm not talking about Eze.
We're talking about Madueke. Don't worry.
We're talking about UK, man. That's my question. I think he could be a good backup in certain games, Madueke, but would I start him? Maybe in. I think maybe the Carrier Bag Cup, maybe a starter. But it's going to take time to settle down. And the thing is, that's a question, isn't it? settling down takes minutes to get in, and that's my concern. I don't think right now, so far I'd start him. I
Mm.
think he come on 15 maybe towards the end of the game if it's all going well. Case in point, Leeds United at the weekend. If we do it, if we like 2-3-0, bring him on. Give him 20 at the end. See what he can do. See if he can link up with Grockers. But the thing is, what is nice right now, we spoke, you and I in the chat, we're all sitting here debating this. Isn't it nice for a change that we've actually sit here and say, well, who are we going to start then?
Yeah.
It's a headache now, isn't it? We've actually got choices. And that's what a big club like Arsenal should have. Because we're sitting there going, well, would you start Madueke? Would you start this guy? Come next week against Liverpool, you're going to start Eze? Are you going to start Martinelli? And that's where we should be. That's what I like. Now, the only question on that one, right, is the fact that we have these options now. We do. Will Arteta have the kahunas to actually say, right, who am I going to start then at the weekend? Maybe I've got options now.
Yeah.
That's my worry with him, because he likes to stick to the same old. And I'm not always convinced that Arteta are going to do that. But we'll see. We're going to see.
Yeah, I'd like him to take risks, and even if it doesn't pay off, you can at least say, Arteta's tried something different. At least he's changed things up. On the left, I agree with you. I think Martinelli is going to be pretty much a starter. Trossard would we know how Trossard's been playing. He's been obviously coming on and helping us, but there's been times where Trossard's had to play really. But Madueke, I think at this moment, I think if he came on against United and he did a bit more, I think it would have been a bit different. But I think he's not done much. I think against United didn't do much, but I think we need to see how it goes. Like I'm willing to give Madueke a little bit of time to settle in, because I remember Havertz. I remember his first sort of 10 games, they weren't great at all, and then he picked up the goals. His confidence came up, and with obviously Havertz, I think that's all we're going to get from him. I think he won't ever be our sort of number one striker, but I think players do need a bit of time to adjust as well. I do think it's a bit different, but it took Bergkamp 8 games to score, Henry 9 games. I do wonder as well, it's crazy with social media now. Back then, I think social media would have gone big on Henry and Bergkamp, but it does take players time to settle in. So I do generally hope that with Madueke it works out. But yeah, the left-hand side, it's nice, don't get me wrong, it's nice to have options. On the right as well, Neri as well, it would be good, as you mentioned, with Arteta to maybe drop a Saka. If Saka's, maybe injured, or if Saka is, not doing great in the game, take him off, bring Neri on. Neri would love the opportunity to step in. So I completely agree. Big up to David. David, if you do want to check my channel, it's Gonna Gossip TV. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send in any questions. Your prediction, how many goals scored from set pieces this year? God, I don't know how many we'll score this year, honestly. We do rely on set pieces, don't we, guys? How many do you think we'll get?
I don't think it'll be that many, to be honest. I'll take a punt. Set pieces. We didn't score that many last year, to be fair. We probably, I'd guess it's probably less than 10, maybe 15.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down the road of this season. I reckon from corners, Rice's free kicks, probably I'd go between 16, 20.
Yeah.
No more than that, really.
Yeah, I think now we've got a few decent attacking players. I don't think we rely on set pieces. We have I don't mind us relying on them the odd time and us defending, but I think we have done that in the past. I'm with you. I think 15 to 20 possibly, but I don't think we'll have a problem with scoring from open play really. I've got a question here as well. With Eze done, do you think at least a domestic cup can be won?
Oh, I bloody hope so.
Yeah.
To be honest, but you know, I've said a million times before. I love the FA Cup. I grew up with the FA Cup. My first 1970-71 was my first FA Cup final. As a 10-year-old little kid. I'd love us to win another FA Cup because with I think it's Man United one behind us now. We're on 14, they're on 13. So I want us to win another one to keep that little gap going. Will it happen? Soph? No, because for some reason this manager seems to disrespect the FA Cup. I don't know why. He won one. I don't get it, right? And he won it as a manager. First trophy, the only trophy he's ever won. Yet we've never got past the fourth round since that.
Yeah, it's difficult because I get. I mean, last season was a nightmare. I think we had United in the FA Cup. I don't know what stage it was, but when we had them, I was thinking, you know what, it should be our time now to just beat them and win something. I think in Arteta's mind, he's probably thought to himself, "We've got a better chance of winning the league, so let's focus on the league," which has backfired on him and just hasn't worked at all. I don't think you should always have your eggs in one basket. I think we have to, you know, sort of focus on a few different competitions because it's shown that we've tried for the league, we've put everything in, and it just hasn't worked out. It's hard because I do agree with you. I think we have to be putting stronger teams out when we're in the FA Cup, whether that's the third round. I mean, when we had Preston, obviously, and I think for those games you can obviously give the younger players a chance as well, whether it's a Waneri, Stalin. But I think when you're playing, you know, the third round, if you've got a Liverpool, Man City, whoever you have, I think you have to put a stronger team because I'm with you. I love an FA Cup. I mean, that's all I've ever seen Arsenal win, really. But yeah, I think FA Cups are really special. I know they're not on the level of like a league, a Champions League, but it's like you said before. You look back on a manager's time. It's like you don't look at the team that have finished second. Arteta's finished second quite a few times. You do look back on the clubs that have had that success. You know, if you look back on Wenger's career, you look back on everything he won, including the FA Cups as well. So I'm with you. I do think we have to. I think we're going to take them more seriously, and I think for me, I mean, I'd be happy if we won, you know, the League Cup, the FA Cup. I think I'd be decently happy with that. Big up to the chat. It's up to the manager to make sure that the team suits the game played there at football. Positive progression with attitude. Big up the chat. Big up David. I think we're going to see 3 players leave by the transfer deadline. I'm also concerned that Madrid might approach Gabriel Saliba, especially since Madrid are not looking good again. That's a good point as well. As I mentioned about winning, is that if we'll get to a point where if we go another season without winning, we might lose players. And I know Gabriel's recently signed a deal, but Saliba's that one for me where I just have my doubts about him. Do you ever have those concerns about other players leaving?
I've certainly got concerns about Saliba going. He hasn't signed a contract. He's holding off. So that is that worries me. Gabriel Saliba, we can't afford to lose either of them. So, you know, I'd like, if possible, Arsenal to get that sorted out and done and dusted so that we ain't got to worry about that one. Because, yes, Madrid last season was sniffing around Saliba. You know, when they come knocking on the door, you know what it means. You
Yeah.
know, we just can't afford that. Not at all. And I think, well, no, I think I could see. Well, okay, I'll tell you the players I think that should go out the door. Right, Jesus. I think his time's dusted. He's one that could go to Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
on stupid money. All right, we terminated the contract of Tomiyasu. That was a good deal. He should go. Zinchenko, never liked that guy. Never wanted him here. Fed up with his political crying about Ukraine and all that. Well, if you're that concerned, mate, get out there. But at the end of the day, you can go. The other one for me is either No, I'm going to change this one. Vieira can go.
Yeah.
He's just not good enough. I was going to say there. I was going to. Who's going? I was going to. No, I was going to. No, I was going to say Marino, but no, Marino can do a job. I don't think he's great, but he can fill in a hole there. So they're the three for me. I think before the
Yeah.
window shuts down, they're the ones that should go.
Yeah, I think God, we do have a lot of players that can need to go. I mean, I think Vieira's likely to go. I know Stuttgart have been interested in him, and I do agree with you. I do think that I just don't think his physicality. I don't think he has that in to be in the league. I think if I always say, if it would have worked out, it would have happened by now, and it just hasn't worked out. Reece Nelson's an interesting one as well because I genuinely have no idea what we're doing. I think he'd want to go on a loan, but I don't know if he would actually go. Yeah, I think Jesus. I think he needs to probably. I think we just need to move him on. I think Saudi would be a good place for him. I guess he's had a good career, but I think at Arsenal, I just think it's up now. I do also have. I do wonder as well about Lukonga, what is actually happening with him because he's pretty much been a part of the team at the moment in pre-season as well. I don't think there's many clubs interested in him, so
No.
I do think we'll see some departures. I definitely think that'll happen. I think there's got to be. Vieira will definitely happen. I think Jesus possibly. There was rumours about Jesus at the start, but it's sort of died down a bit. Zinchenko as well, as you've mentioned. I think for me, I just think he needs to go. I think he should have maybe gone a season or two ago. But I think for me, if we can get this done, now yeah, I agree with this. Nelson and the Congress still in the squad. I still can't believe that they're still here. But yeah, I think we'll definitely. I don't think we'll get much for the Congo, but I think we'll move them on at some point. So, yeah, I'm hoping we will see. And we've made some great signings so far. So we've gone through in this video today, but I think we'll definitely as well see some outgoings. Hopefully, I think we need to get rid of maybe 3 to 5 players in this window. But yeah, obviously big up to chat as well. It's obviously been great to chat with you, Jez. To those that will be watching this on my channel, do you want to just tell people a bit about your channel and what sort of content you do?
Yeah, just before I do that, I just want to say I think the problem we're going to have with Jesus salaries, they're too big and they're going to be a problem. I'll tell you, if we can't sell him, right, it'll be a contract termination,
Yeah,
which means we get nothing. But hey, there you go.
I think
That's
we will.
Arsenal. You know what I mean? We like doing all that, don't we? Anyway, let's move it on. Yeah, I've really enjoyed being on your show again, Sophs. Yeah, it's Jez is Arsenal. It's all Arsenal content, history stuff, what's going on, general chats with other tubers, and thoroughly enjoy it. Have a laugh, have a good debate. We don't always agree with each other, but hey, that's what life's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you, Sophs, as always, and it's been great to be here.
Oh, I've really loved it. It's gone so quick. I love chatting about Arsenal with you, and obviously, big up to chat. I've loved chatting with you guys. I hope I've gone through as many sort of comments as I can while I've been chatting. So, obviously, if you guys are watching this on my channel, don't forget to subscribe to Jez's channel. Of course, if you're watching this off Jez, feel free to subscribe to my channel, which is Guna Gossip TV. But thank you everyone for your comments. It's been lovely, and as I said, it's gone so quick. I just hope Arsenal win something big this season. I really do. I'm hoping that we'll win a league, a Champions League, something big. But take care, guys. Of course, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I will see you on my next video. Bye, guys.